Lovely day. What are we talking about today?
We're going to cover a lot. So we're going to go fast. We're going to talk about revisiting the second quarter, right? So we got to revisit some of the basics sometimes and revisit mindset. Are we sticking with what we're supposed to be doing? That kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of times I think actually that's people get like, oh, I've heard this before. Well, believe it or not, the fundamentals work.
They
right?
do.
I think was it Vince Lombardi. His team wasn't performing at a high level. He went back. He's like, this is a football, right?
Right.
He literally held up a football. He's like, team, you're talking about NFL players. He's like, this is a football. Why? Because you got to go back to the fundamentals and just make sure that you're doing the things that are going to lead to success in what, like 90 days? Is real estate a 90
days? Yep. It's a
90 day cycle.
What you do today is going to show up in your bank account in 90 days if you're doing the right thing.
So if you need any of the resources, you guys go visit extremeagentsvip.com. If you have any issues with any of that, let me know. On that site, you can download all the resources, scripts. There's videos you can rewatch and go.
Everything that we're going to be referencing today is in there as far as the documents and everything else.
And if you don't have an account, there's a link to create an account. I'll show you how to do that here at the end, but let's go fast. This is based on, I think, about 8 or 9 years of weekly coaching that Steve and I have gone through. We paid $1,000 a month for a coach to talk to us for 30 minutes a week. So the 30 minutes that we have every week, we paid $1,000 to learn these things, and we're sharing them with you, and they work.
Yep.
Go figure. And it starts with the fundamentals. So when we start and talk about, hey, you have to have a right mindset. And last week we had a great call about mindset, which is a good 80% of any entrepreneur's journey is battling right here.
That's right.
And then you got to get into setting a plan, having some goals. Why do you want to do this? Why are you in real estate? Why not go have a 9 to 5 job, which there's nothing wrong with. If you want to go do that, you can do that. But why are you in real estate? Probably because you have some goals that you want to accelerate and achieve. And you got to have those. You got to have a why you're doing this. Otherwise, you're going to give up when it gets hard. And to do that, after you have your why, you got to make a plan and then create a schedule around that plan and get accountable. So a couple of words of warning first, right, Steve? This is, I still battle with this. Some things that will derail you, even in the middle of the year, even when the market's hot, things that will derail you is going after, oh, there's a faster way to do it. Right? How often do you get hit up, Steve, with shiny objects?
Yeah, it is definitely one of those things we got to watch out for. And I can relate it to when I first started using this coaching model. And I literally within the first, 6-8 months, I didn't think it was working. So I was they had another group in our office that was like a different type of coaching group. And I joined that briefly, and I said, yeah, I gotta do more. I got to do this. I got to do that. That probably works better. At the end of the day, what I was doing was the most efficient, most effective, and the right way to run my business. And the more I realized that and stuck to it, the results started to come in. Massive results started to come in quickly. I mean, not quickly. It took a while, but once they did, it was like an avalanche. Once it started, the money and the deals started coming in, like crazy.
And I do recall that there was the top producer at your office at that time, and you compared later on how profitable it was, and one of you was more profitable.
Yes. Yeah, it was. I remember going to that meeting, and the guy told me how much money he was making every year, and why his way was the right way to do things, and it kind of clashed with what I was learning in my other coaching programs. So I said, I got to make a decision on one or the other. And I knew what these other people in my coaching group and my coach, had made, and what that looked like. And so I followed that direction. And 1 year later, I more than doubled what that guy did every year as a top producer at that office in GCI. So, it just shows that if you really, and the reason is because I not only stuck to the program, but I was relentless in my pursuit, and I I stuck to doing the hard work, and that was making the phone calls and getting those contacts every day. And that's when it started to pay off.
Yeah. This is human psych. Some of it's just human nature that you're battling, and you just got to keep doing the hard work. Some of these things are not scalable. Trust me. I try to geek out and be a nerd and automate and but you know what, at some point, sometimes things are just they're not scalable. You can't scale a one-on-one conversation with somebody, right? That, like, Cindy's making those follow-up calls on those leads and she's getting deals from it. But guess what? You can't scale that. You can't I can't automate some of these things. You just got to do the work.
Right. You have to talk to people.
So where we're at right now, no matter what quarter you're watching this, or if you're right here today, review what you've already done, review what was your plan and what were the results you get. Did you stick to the plan? If not, it's time to buckle down and be like, okay, I really need to commit to the plan this time. But see what you did. What were the actual numbers? A lot of times we fail at things in life because we're not self-aware. We don't really ask ourselves the tough question of, what did I actually do and what was the result and the payout? You got to be honest. Look at the results. If it's like, man, I got 10 leads last month. Okay. What did you do to get 10 leads? And what was your plan? Was your plan to get 30 leads and to work, a Saturday and do a blitz day? What were your results and what did you do? Review that. How important is reviewing your prior activities, Steve?
It's key. It's key if you want growth. By reviewing what you did over the last quarter, or the last year, the last month, you can see where the holes are, what you need, where you need improvement, what you did right, what you did wrong. And based on tracking your numbers, you're able to review those numbers, and then you're able to fill in the holes where they need to be corrected, fill in the spots that are having problems.
Somebody said, I think it's what's measured can be improved, or what's measured can be managed, something like that.
Yep, definitely.
So after you've reviewed what you have already done or what you have kind of on the table, now it's time to make a plan. So you can make a plan every year. You can make a plan every quarter. You can make a plan every month. You can make a plan for your week. You should have a plan for your day.
That's right.
How much? Right. How much do you want to make? How many deals? How many conversations? How many transactions? What market are you going after? What neighborhood? What price point? All of that. Dial that in. Just don't spend a lot of time, but this is one page we have. So you can download the 12-month plan, the quarterly plan, the monthly plan. You can download that all on the site, but you need to have a plan.
Put it in writing. Download one of those business plans, either the quarterly or the monthly plan. And if you want time to go over that with me and Jesse, or me or Jesse, whatever, we'll do that with you. It's called a business session.
And it's not real if it's not written down. I know people say, I have goals. Yeah. Well, what are they? Do you have a vision board? Do you have them written down? Do you have a game plan to get there? That's what this is. And then to actually turn it into activities, you need to create a schedule from that plan. How many conversations do you have to have? How many leads do you need to get? How many marketing dollars? Maybe you're doing ads. How much content do you need to produce to get enough noise and attention to bring those leads in? How many hours of calls? How many days, right? Put that on the schedule. Someone said, if it's not on your schedule, it does not exist.
That's right. You got to live by the schedule. You have to have a daily schedule in this business, or it's very easy to get off track. It's very easy to look at those, get caught up in the shiny object syndrome, and you'll find yourself, wasting several weeks and months, and before you know it, you're not going to make any money.
Yeah. So time block everything. Put a time for, hey, I do not take any interruptions or appointments or anything else during this time because I'm doing lead generation. This time I'm doing lead follow-up. Then I have a slot for 4 to 6 p.m. where I do appointments or whatever that is. Time block it all, put it on the schedule. Next thing you need to do is to practice, right? The best of the best of the best of the best, they practice. We talked in our previous calls about our boy Kobe and Michael Jordan and the guys that were relentless in practice. How did they perform?
Top of the game.
Yeah. No surprise.
Yeah.
I'm surprised because that they practice a lot.
Average agent out there doing, 4, 6, 8 deals a year is not practicing anything. And I can also guarantee you that your agents out there that are doing 50 plus deals a year, they spend time practicing their listing appointment. They spend time practicing what they're going to say on the phone. They spend time putting in the work outside of just taking the actions during the day when they're making the phone calls and communicating with buyers and sellers. You got to put a little bit of work into it outside of the daily routine.
Steve, you and I have role played a lot, and you know what? We were brutal on each other. Like, hey, man, you said you were a stutter and all of it. You sound a little rusty. What's going on? Or we were,
yeah.
Hey, man, you didn't close. You should have closed 5 more times. You were hesitant to close. That's what role playing does. It calls out those things that you may not recognize, and it helps you strengthen and improve those things. We're like, hey,
absolutely.
You never asked for the appointment.
Yeah, and we do this every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central. I have a role play session with John that everybody's invited to, and it's a really good way to listen in and also to participate and practice the scripts. And there's other people in there that will practice with you outside of that call as well. There's usually about 40 people on the call.
If you need access to any of those calls, you can go to the extremeagentsvip.com. There's a section on there for events or activities or weekly schedule, and click on the link. There's a Zoom link for all that there. Really, though, you should be practicing more often than just once a week. We're just doing that as like, hey, this is a group effort. You can see some master salespeople, what they do and how they role play. But really, me and Steve, we can recall recordings we have where we role play with a different person 5 days a week, and then the next week we pull those 5 people again, but we tried a different script, and the next week. So more is better.
That's how it works.
It also provides accountability. So again, I don't care where you're at on your production level. Accountability is going to help you keep and grow, keep that momentum and grow, right? It's going to help you stay accountable to what you're supposed to be doing, those activities, those income producing activities every day. So what do you do to stay accountable, Steve? Or what are some things that have worked for you?
Well, some of the things in the past that have worked, I have a little bit different accountability these days because I do a lot of these coaching sessions, and those are my accountability to myself and to the other agents and leaders in the group. But what we would do in the past is we would, for example, if I'm doing role play with somebody, maybe I'll have a partner that I do role play with twice a week during the next month. And so what we'll do is anytime, somebody doesn't show up to that, it's $100 to the other person, or $100 to, their favorite charity or whatever it is. You gotta have, it on your calendar, be held accountable to show up. Somebody else has to be there to keep you accountable. So it takes 2 people for, really for good accountability.
And publish it, right? That's what you've done a lot of. It's like, yeah, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Go publish it on social media. Hey, I'm going to take a picture of, the dialer showing that I was on there for 2 hours every day to show you I'm making my calls. And you put that on social media and time stamp it. And it's, easier to be accountable that way.
Yeah. For quite a while, I'm not a WhatsApp user really hardly, but I know for quite a while, Cindy was sending these, hey, I had 20 conversations. This is what I did. Oh. And she was accountable.
And she got it of having those conversations. She doesn't do that anymore as far as the accountability, but I know she's making her calls because her production shows that she is.
Yeah. And sometimes you're in a spot where you're like, man, I just need some extra accountability, and extra accountability is good. And if you're self-accountable and you're really good at it, you may not need as much, right? You may not need to post it or check in with somebody as much, but guess what? It works.
It does work. Even if you're doing great, if you feel yourself getting to a point where you need the accountability, let us know.
So it's Q2 here. So what if you feel like you're a little bit behind? Here's a strategy that you can do, regardless if you're behind or not, is to front load your year, right? Like your Q1. If you were on top of your game in Q1 in January and you were hustling, guess what? Right now you got deals. If you weren't, hey, it's not too late. Let's get to work. let's front load May. May 1st is coming. Guess what? Front load the rest of May by hustling the first couple of days and the first Saturday of May, and front load your week by working a couple extra hours on Tuesday or Monday, the first couple of days of the week. So add more time and invest more of your energy and income activities in the beginning so that you're not playing as much catch up later on.
Yeah, it's better to beat ahead. It's better to get ahead than fall behind. It's a lot harder to catch up if you fall behind. So if you're behind right now, that's okay. Start over today, start over tomorrow, and set yourself up for the best 90 days in real estate that you've ever had, or the best 6 months. There's still a good 6 months of highly active market ahead of us this year. So you can still have a phenomenal year if you started today.
This is why we preach get stuff done in the morning. That's the income things. What are the income activities? Do those in the morning. Front load your day by, hey, you're not like at 3 o'clock, be like, man, I didn't make any calls today. I didn't do any lead follow-up. I guess I'll do it tomorrow. If you did it already before 11 o'clock, you'd be good. You can go run on to that inspection, right?
Yep.
Also do the same thing with tracking. Track your quarter, track your month, track your week, track your day. Okay. So front load it and do those schedule those activities, but then also review and track it. Okay, I had a good week because I did X activities. All right. This is something, Steve, that having a set time to call your database. Everybody has a database. I don't care who you are. We've done this. I've gone through this memory jogger with people, Steve, and they're like, well, I don't really think I have that big of a database. And so we start opening up their Instagram and their email and their cell phone contacts. And pretty soon they're like, oh, I got 150 people in their total. I thought I only had like 30 or 40.
Yep.
You have a database.
You've got a database if you have a cell phone. Trust me.
Yeah. And you know what? I've opened my Gmail and I'm like, okay, how many people have I? And I clicked on contacts, not on emails inbox, but I clicked on contacts in my Gmail. And I was like, oh, I have 6,000 people in here that I've emailed. Now, granted, all of them are not my database really, but out of that, I was like, oh, I got 400 people in here that I could talk to. If you're a real estate agent and you want to recruit somebody, guess what? You probably have done some deals and interactions with agents. You probably go to your contacts tab and be like, oh, there's 100 agents I've interacted with in the last 24 months. I'm going to email all of them and invite them to this agent attraction thing.
There you go.
I mean, I don't know if that's a bad idea or what.
The database side of things is I had a goal to hit 35 contacts total every day. And one of the things I like about database and past clients, your database, people that you've done business with before that they know you, is, for example, if I got to like 27 contacts and I knew I had to hit another 8 contacts for the day, and I was having trouble getting a hold of those cold leads or warm leads, I would start calling my database. And when you leave a message with your database or send them a text, that counts as a contact, because the chances are they're probably getting that message. So I always like to fill the end of my, there's a million different ways to do it, but that's how I did it. I would fill the last 5 or 6 or 3 or whatever every day with database. And I just go right down the list. If I, had to contact 8 that day, I would contact them. I would start at number 9 on the list the next day.
Yeah.
So forth.
Here's a little hack too, just for leads in general and contacts and getting more business. Our coach, Steve Powers, he taught me, who do you call first every day? Now, if you're doing it, even if you're doing expireds and FISBOs and all those things that are very limited, who do you call first? He taught me this. Call your hottest lead that you think is most likely to set an appointment and list with you first. Okay, makes sense. Hottest person. I'm like, okay, well, I called that person. Who next? He said, the next hottest person, right? He always had a way of like making it like dating, right? If you're checking out somebody like, hey, who do you contact? Who do you go up to first? The hottest person, right? He's like the hottest lead. And then you go after then you call your average lead. You're like, I don't really know. They're probably like a 5 out of a 10. I'll call them next. And then you call your okay leads, and then go call all the cold ones. So by now you've already talked to maybe 3 or 4 people, and one of those might have set an appointment already. So that's just a little side hack when calling, because Steve was talking about calling your database to fill in those spots where you didn't get any.
That's right.
We have a script for calling your database. You can download that. I think we have 2. One, if you haven't talked to anybody in a while, that's on the lower part of the page. And then this one, very simple. Hey, how you doing? Just you're tagging in with them. And add some value if you have something to let them know about what's going on in the market. Steve just sent out a blast. And what did you say on your voice blast to your database, Steve?
Let's see, what did I say? I said that
like a market update, right? Kind of like
a little market update. As you probably know, the market is up quite a bit over the last year here in our area. Home prices are up 25%. And, with rates rising, we don't expect that to last. So if you know anybody thinking about buying or selling, we would definitely like to help them sooner than later. Give us a call. It's something real simple.
Yeah. Everybody could do that. You could either voice blast them, text them, email them. You could call them all.
Yep.
And just say, hey, just want to let you know, the market's up 25% in the last 12 months. A lot of people are cashing out and moving out to where it's warmer. Okay, we'll skip some of this here. Talk to more people. Okay, 3 ways to have the rest of this quarter be amazing. Talk to more people, right? If you're talking to 5 people a day and you're not getting the results you want, what should you do?
Talk to 10.
Ding, 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 ding. We got a winner, y'all. Hey, you got a lead. You got an appointment set because you doubled up. You asked more people, hey, have you thought about selling? Have you had any thoughts of buying or selling real estate? You asked that to 10 more people than you asked yesterday. You're going to have some better results. So talk to more people. We see TTP. Talk to people.
Maybe TTP.
Stick to your schedule. All right. As things get more chaotic and springtime is that busier time, it can seem like, oh, I didn't have time to do those income producing activities because I had an inspection and I was trying to chase down the underwriter or the lender, why the docs weren't out, and you didn't stick to your schedule. We've all done that. But this is the time, if you want to have a great rest of the quarter and next quarter, stick to that schedule, right?
Got to stick to the schedule.
Okay. 80-20 everything. Again, this is back to if you never heard of the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, it means 80% of outcomes come from 20% of our inputs. Okay. So this is why we say you only have to prospect and talk to leads for like an hour or 2 a day, 3 hours the most, probably. That little portion of your day, that's that 20% of your day. It produces the 80% of the results.
Yep.
Steve, you do this even with your fitness, right? It works in everything.
Absolutely. You gotta take care of that, the most important stuff every day, and make it non-negotiable.
Yeah. So if you got leads that are coming into Sierra or KVCore, it may look like, oh, it's only a couple, but that 20% activity, that little portion of your day, produces the big wins. So I'm sure Cindy would testify that, hey, I call them back ASAP. I call them back immediately. I text them back and let them know we got your inquiry. I'm on it. Like that's the 20. That's the 20 that produces the 80.
There you go.
Bam. Okay. What else we got? We got all kinds of stuff we could cover here. Now, one last thing here about a database too, which I think is totally always neglected, and that is use the tools you have. Right, get familiar with expenterprise.com. If you're not, go in there and get familiar with all the resources that are available. But use KVCore. KVCore it's simple to use the basic 3 or 4 things that you needed to do. And it does an amazing job at that. If you need to send a newsletter blast, you could do that in 2 hours. I think Steve and I put one together like an hour, 2 hours last week. Simple. Go get familiar with that. Send that out to your database. And why? I can hear someone right now. Steve, I did that and it didn't do nothing. I didn't get a deal from it. Nobody called from it. You know, this gets me. It irks me because it's called branding. Coca-Cola has a billboard on the freeway by my house, and no one's calling. No one's pulling off the freeway. Got to get a cold Coca-Cola right now. No, they are not selling a Coca-Cola from someone seeing that billboard and they pull off the freeway. That is called branding. That is called staying in front of people. That's called being top of mind. That's called making sure they don't take the other realtor's call and be like, oh yeah, okay, you're a realtor. Yeah. No, it's you. Steve wants to be the agent that gets called when anybody in his database is thinking about buying or selling. How does he do that? What did you do, Steve? You sent a newsletter, right?
Yep. You got to send a newsletter. You call them once a quarter. You text them once a quarter. You got to stay in front of them. Let them know that you're actively in the market working and that you're there to help.
And you do that with the tools you already have. You don't need to go buy a new software. You don't need to go.
No.
There's no widget you got to get.
Keep it simple.
KVCore. Download the app. It'll help you stay in touch with people. It'll show you who opened and who responded, who's inquiring. It helps you do all of that. So get familiar with KVCore and start using it to schedule out a monthly newsletter or some type of email, text message, voice blasting communication. If you need help with that, we've offered this before. I'll offer it again. If someone needs help, I can show you how to do this in 30 minutes. We also have a pre-recorded call that you could go watch how to set up a newsletter, how to schedule out some email follow-ups.
Boom.
So we covered a lot. We don't expect you to take everything right now and just like that's fire hose in the mouth, in the face, too much. Take 2 or 3 things from what we talked about today and improve on them. Do the 1%.
Boom. Yep. And the most important thing would probably be the database and reaching out to your database consistently every day. Just, 5 people in your database a day over the next 2 months, you're going to get some business. I guarantee it. Guaranteed.
So everything's on the site. Get the script. Go make today count. Go make tomorrow count, you guys. This is showtime.
Thanks, guys. Great call, Jesse.
I am. Love you guys. Be safe. Stay warm. Cheers.